you hit your head, you see stars, you shake it off.
You played through pain because if you didn't, there was someone there to take your place.
That's right.
There you go. The old smelling salts get up and you're good to go. The old longest yard reference. Ken Thompson, Andy Iskoe, Cindy McCoy talking a little roller derby here at Sports X Radio. Different show, and we were going to come back on the other side. Tina going to take us to break. Hell on Wheels is the book. We'll talk more about it. Karen Mueller-Bryson helped out with Cindy McCoy on this book, Hell on Wheels, and we'll talk more with Cindy. Ken Thompson, Andy Iskoe live at the Generation Sportsbook Studio. Cindy McCoy joining us, of course, talking a little roller derby and offense, defense, it all comes into play as far as roller derby. Tax Defense Network, they come into play as well. Help me out as far as back taxes, 800-518-0199. No sense waiting for any liens or levies or anything like that on your bank account or garnished wages. You don't need to deal with that. And I know a lot of folks here, especially in the Vegas Valley, a lot of 1099 employees want to make sure you stay up on that, especially if you're somebody that's, whether you're in blackjack or cocktailing or whatever, and you got those tips coming in. A lot of times, you're like, I'm not going to declare this, I'm not going to declare that. And next thing you know, you're 2, 3, 4 years behind. Then you're like, I'm not going to deal with this and going to try and stay under the radar. Trust me, IRS, they will find you. And take it from somebody that learned the hard way. I always got to get a school of hard knocks. Dad told me that when I was like 7, 8 years old, and I think it's stuck there, and it is the school of hard knocks. But thank goodness Tax Defense Network helped me out. I'm back on. I'm all caught up on all my taxes, all that good stuff, and everything else is all legal beagle. Andy Iskoe, I know you're somebody that's so meticulous. I guarantee you probably overpay the IRS.
Oh, that's my favorite activity.
I know it is. There's no doubt about it. Andy Iskoe, he is somebody that makes sure, because he wants to, make sure that he's funding those line dances coming up in 2014. He wants to make sure that he's contributing.
The what dances?
The line dances. We want to make sure that you're contributing so they can dance a little bit better next year. Cindy McCoy is here. Hell on Wheels is the book, the incredible story of rookie roller derby queen Cindy McCoy. And Cindy, you talked about Karen Mueller-Bryson that helped you out on the book. How did the whole idea of getting the book out, and when did you start working on that? And again, you've gone around different states and whatnot. Now I have not had the privilege. I had not have the privilege to read the book, and I can't wait to read it and then bring you back on because it's always a little different after you've read the book. But tell us a little bit about you and Karen, your relationship, and how you got rolling and how you got the book out.
Yeah, James Vincent Fahey, who has done my screenplay on my life story, he introduced us to Karen.
Okay.
Because we had been looking for someone to do the bio for me. And
you live here in Vegas?
Yes.
Okay, and
yes.
now is Karen Vegas girl too?
No, she's out of Phoenix.
Okay.
Out of Arizona.
All right, a little warmer than us. I mean, they're 117 when we're 114, so that's okay. They can have that the distinction there.
They're welcome to it.
Yeah, exactly. They can have that title there. But how did you meet Karen, and how did you guys coordinate on the book?
And so today with the email and the internet, we set up a time. Vincent introduced us. We made contact. We emailed back and forth, and then I met with her, and then on the telephone we communicated. And I've gone down with several book signings with her and had fun doing that.
Did she have any idea, Cindy, as far as the sport itself? I mean, is she somebody that maybe that had a chance to watch the sport growing up, or is she younger?
No, she wasn't totally familiar with it, but she was familiar with the girls down in Phoenix. They have the flat track where the girls are trying to bring back roller derby on the flat track, and she teaches at the college down there, and she had several students in her class who had invited her to one of the games, so she knew of the new more than she knew about the old. So that was kind of unique, and her students invited us to go to several of their games down in Mesa. We were guests down there, and we had a good time watching.
Mesa, Arizona. Now, Andy, with X Games and all these different things, all these different sports coming out, we would think that roller derby could be even more advanced than when we watched it growing up. And again, we appreciated the game, but I would think this would be appealing to all age groups. Cindy, what about it, and where is roller derby now? Are there some leagues going on? Are there some teams that are coordinated throughout the country? Let us know a little about what's going on with roller derby now, or is it a sport that is basically gone and done?
There are some teams up north, and the Bay Bombers are up there, and Jim is a friend of ours, and they had a game over at Texas Station here last year. We went over to, and the attendance
So
wasn't there.
is there anything in Vegas going on as far as a team?
They have the flat track girls going.
Okay, they do. Okay, so they have the girls. Guys, nothing?
I don't know if they have the guys team here or not. I know Colorado has a guys team and Arizona has a guys team because I got to see, and then Texas has a lot of them that come up and they compete, and they're quite structured, and they have a lot of rules and stuff that they have to meet in order to compete and be on the teams. And I mean, I was quite impressed with their structure, actually. And I just hope they can make it go for them because I like to see people skating.
No, again, the skating, because we're seeing, again, and I always I go back and I reference the X Games and the alternative sports, and when you watch things like snowboarding and skateboarding and these guys going up on pipes and just doing all these incredible things, and then, from motocross on down, I mean, it's just, it blows you away, and it's something that you've got to have that extreme gene in you as far as to get involved in sports like that, and you've got to learn them really at a young age to where you have no fear, to to where it becomes secondhand, as second nature basically. We talk about watching hockey, and we watch the Canadians and the Russians and even the Americans that get going at a young age, to where they're able to skate before they're able to run. We joke about that, but that is basically the ones that are really great at their particular sport. That's the way it is.
Yeah, you start out, you have no fear. All you have is that drive. You got to win. You got to be better. I can do this. And the competition, and you try to do that stunt a little better than that one. And you find your niche and what you're good at. And you just keep getting stronger and stronger at it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the strategy. Real quick, want to update everybody on the Findlay Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. Keep everybody up to date on what's going on. Major League Baseball, nearly all the games are over. Right now, the Brewers up on top of the Diamondbacks 3-2. That's in the bottom half of the fifth inning from Arizona. Also, the Cubbies knocked off the Cardinals 3-0. Jackson, a gem, goes to 6-10. Westbrook suffers a loss. Greg gets a 16th save, but 3-0. The Cubbies, a four-hitter there for Jackson. Meanwhile, the Indians doubled up on the Blue Jays 4-2. That was Salazar over Dickey. Perez his 11th save, and Cabrera hits his 7th home run. Asdrubal Cabrera there for Cleveland. Meanwhile, Tampa, they continue to win. They're playing great ball right now, and the Rays are going to be very dangerous. We talked about it, Andy and I, a little bit about the second half, that we expect the Rays to be one of those teams that compete to win the American League. They win tonight again 4-3 over Minnesota. That was Moore over Pelfrey. McGee got his first save there for the Rays. Scott and Longoria both went deep. Longoria is 18th. Meanwhile, the Yankees, they ended up splitting that 4-game series with Kansas City, gave the Royals the first two there at Yankee Stadium. They won the last two, crushed them last night behind Nova. Tonight, Pettit gets the win, his second straight home win. He beat the Orioles, and was able to get a win on Saturday when they supported him with 5 runs. Tonight they get him 8 runs, and the Yankees win it by a score of 8-4. Santana suffers a loss there. Meanwhile, the White Sox doubled up on the Detroit Tigers. That was Sale over Sanchez. Reed got his 23rd save there. Diaz and Fegley both went deep there for the White Sox. Cabrera hit his 30th. Tuiasa Sopo got his 6th there for the Tigers in a losing effort. Meanwhile, in 10 innings, Red Sox 8, Mariners 7. That was Wright over Wilhelmsen. Yoihara got his 7th save there. Ellsbury his 3rd. Seager got his 14th for the Mariners in a losing effort. Orioles 3-1 behind Gonzalez over Wolf. Johnson his 31st save. Kinsler, a solo home run, the only run for the Texas Rangers. Robertson, Davis both went deep for Chris Davis, his 34th home run of the year. Meanwhile, National League, Braves 6-5. They edged the Reds in Atlanta, and that was Kimbrel getting his 25th save behind Hudson, who goes to 6-7. Latos suffers a loss, drops to 8-3. Nationals lose again to the Phillies. They dropped 3-4 in that series. Kendrick over Zimmerman. Zimmerman drops to 12-4. Papelbon got his 20th save in that game. Also, Giants and Padres. Giants just got a home run from Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda, to get the G-men on the board. They still trail the Padres by a score of 2-1. That's the middle of the fourth inning down at Petco. Dodgers lead the Rockies 1-0. That is the top half of the fourth inning. Dodgers playing incredible ball, and Capuano pitching a gem right now. Rockies just one hit through the first 3.5 innings. Diamondbacks, again, we told you, trailing the Brewers by a score of 3-1. Gave you the Cubbies final, and that is a look at Major League Baseball on the Findlay Toyota out-of-town scoreboard. Andy Isco also a couple of soccer scores of interest. Panama edges Martinique in the CONCACAF games by a score of 1-0, and Mexico and Canada, they are underway. 8th minute, no score there. And then WNBA, the two games are both final from earlier today. Indiana loses at home to Minnesota 69-62. The Lynx take care of business, and LA blows out Tulsa 94-78, laying 7.5. No problem for the Sparks. They look to be the best team right now in the West. Them and Minnesota, just depends who's playing at home, but both those teams very tough on their home court. Minnesota gets a road win. LA also gets a road win, and we'll see if those two teams aren't battling to see who represents the Western Conference in the WNBA a little bit later. It is Ken Thompson, it is Andy Isco, and of course Cindy McCoy joining us here. We're talking a little roller derby, a sport that Andy and I both grew up with and really enjoyed. On Saturday mornings, I remember it was cartoons, and then as you got towards the later part of the morning, Andy, that's when you started looking forward to the sports activities. And again, when you have a bunch of sisters like me, you know, the only time you're going to be able to convince them, you know, to leave some sports on is when it's appealing to them as well, and roller derby was that sport.
I watched roller derby, but it followed the Three Stooges, not cartoons.
There you go. Good stuff. Cindy McCoy, what about your family? Any backing, you know, as far as the parents? And again, injuries. I mean, we didn't really get into it, but you suffered some significant injuries, and again, not a lot of money backing this sport. As far as now, you did say you were okay as far as you know, taking care of injuries. I guess now, did the league or the specific teams have insurance to take care of things like that?
The National Skating Derby was the league that I was with in Southern California, and they had insurance on the skaters.
Thank God.
So we were blessed to have that. Otherwise, it would have not been a good thing to do.
Yeah, because I watched even Andy Lingerie Football League, you know, their first year, they didn't even have insurance for the gals. A lot of the gals, you know, had to sign waivers, and basically it's like, well, if you get hurt, good luck.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. That's about the best way you could say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Things
the athletes who go out there and put their bodies on the line should be fully protected.
I agree, and of course, Cindy, you talk about things like concussions. I mean, we had no clue, you know, the lingering effect that these concussions were going to bring. I'm sure, you know, back in the day, roller derby was not just made for TV to where it's kind of like, oh, excuse me, you'll go by. No, there was some serious hitting, and there were concussions and other injuries, of course.
Yeah, broken arms, broken legs, ribs, you know, concussions, yes.
Worst injury that you saw?
The worst injury I saw was the injury that John Hall and I think it was Charlie Mitchell was the other person involved.
Broken leg?
And they were doing warm-up before the game at the Olympic Auditorium.
Okay,
and this was in the early 60s. And one of them would go one way on the track, and the other one would go the opposite.
Way. Okay.
And warming up, being showing
being cocky, right?
Cocky,
yeah, sure.
strutting their stuff. And they would signal. One would squat, and the other one would jump over them.
Ouch!
They got their signals mixed, and neither one of them went down, and they.
Wow. That was a good clap, too, by the way. I mean, I'm feeling the impact right here just from the clap.
But I mean, that's the sound you heard sitting there watching that hump. And
wow.
John Hall received the worst injury out of the deal, and they had to drill holes in his head and fuse his neck, and was in the hospital on one of those where they turned him ever so many hours on those stretch things that they had. And
boy, that is scary. And you know, just to tell you how I remember that happened to a kid that got in an accident in our high school in Jersey. And I remember seeing the guy, and I was like, what is this joker doing? You know, I was joking with my buddy. I had no clue. I'm like, I thought the guy's, goofing around, just wearing something, to school. I had no clue that this apparatus was basically there to keep his skull and everything intact, and had no clue. And my buddy's like, he goes, dude, man, what are you talking about? He goes, do you know what that is? And I had no clue. I was that naive. I had no clue, and it was basically there to kind of get his body to, stay, stabilized, right?
Yeah, so the head injuries and the